Dog business. So, the story began when Joe, with a washed and almost perfumed elegant dog on a fashionable leash, went into a bar. He drank a glass of wine and told the owner that the dog was the winner of all kinds of exhibitions, a purebred representative of his breed and, in general, a rare treasure. Then he gave $10 tip and asked to leave the dog at the counter for half an hour because he had to go to a business meeting. Shortly after Weil left, Buckminster appeared at the bar, faking a heart attack and yelling that he had been looking for just such a dog for 5 years and ready to pay $50, no, $100 or even $300 for it. The bartender refused and asked to wait for the owner of the dog. Buckminster left a $50 deposit and hotel phone number in case the dog's owner agreed to the deal. Weil soon appeared with a gloomy face. He has just lost his business. Reluctantly, the owner of a purebred representative of the breed agreed to give it to the bartender for $250. However, when the bartender came to the hotel with his purchase, there was, of course, no mention of Buckminster. Well, the dog turned out to be a purebred stray dog. Your change, monsieur. But dog business was a rainy day scam, as Joe called it. In 1920s he hit the international stage. Once Weil bought a bankrupt bank, $75,000 only. Under the guarantee of this bank, he wrote several IOUs, similar to modern traveler's checks. Americans usually were traveling with these checks to Europe. Then Joe, Buckminster and 4 more accomplices went to Joe's favorite city. In Paris, the company met 6 stunning model girls, who willingly agreed to participate in the case. However, who would doubt it? It was a tour to the most expensive fur and jewelry stores in European capitals, where the girls chose gifts for themselves. Their rich American friends paid with bank receipts worth $100,000 each. Sellers willingly gave change in cash. Europeans those time were unconditionally believing in the solvency of American tourists. By the end of the tour, Weil himself earned $292,000. By the way, Joe had no need to buy love. Women liked him and he's never hesitated to use his intelligent appearance. Especially it worked on overripe widows. For commercial purposes. A supernatural investment advice. For example, once a friend spiritualist sold our swindler a rich woman. She came to the spiritual session to ask how to invest $200,000. The medium predicted that a bearded man would appear in her fate and solve all issues. Weil willingly acquired the concession. He took a map of Texas and drew several working wells between the lands of the 2 oil giants. Then one dark Saturday night, Joe's luxurious Fiat Roadster broke down right at the gates of the huge estate of the prospective investor. Of course, he could call a mechanic only on Monday. Sunday passed having a cozy chat. And on Monday the widow became a buyer of non-existent oil wells for $200,000. Tell me who your friends are. In 1925, Joe discovered that he had accumulated about $1 million in personal and real estate. On his 50th birthday, looking at his growing daughter, he decided to become an honest businessman, respected in the city. So Weil bought the 6-story Hotel Martinique, with 215 colonial-style rooms. Everything was decorated in the most sophisticated way, including an underground bar with the best drinks, during the time of Prohibition. The hotel became one of the most fashionable places in the city, where high-ranking politicians, bohemians, and the best cabaret dancers were throwing parties. However, scammers go bust precisely because they are trying to do honest business. Joe was let down by his old underworld friends. When they found out about the hotel, they began visiting him as old friends, booking the best rooms and often paying with fake checks. They knew that Weil would never call police, and the hotel became known as a quiet place to lie low. Decent clients, meeting such guests, hastily evicted. The hotel was losing more and more money, but Joe did not want to believe in the failure of this enterprise. He sold real estate, a yacht, collectible cars, invested his cash in this project. But all in vain. At some point, one of the guests offered Weil to buy stolen equities. He agreed because he urgently needed money. However, the papers turned out to be from a high-profile robbery, which was quickly uncovered. Joe was taken for complicity and put on 5 years, his longest time in prison. Karma. When Weil got out of prison, the world was already on the brink of war. Joe decided to make a hasty ride to old good Europe before it started. Weil and Buckminster hit the road. After earning some money from a scam for a rainy day, of course. On the ship, the swindlers introduced themselves as wealthy owners of copper mines in the southern United States. For persuasiveness, Joe even had a couple of books by a certain Dr. Rule, a geological engineer who really was a millionaire. A fake photo of Joseph was neatly pasted under the cover of the books. His new identity made an extremely positive impression on the young black-eyed beauty, who was traveling with a friend, an English aristocratic woman. Buckminster and Weil spent all their free time with the girls and soon learned the amazing story of mysteriously silent black eyes. She turned out to be a French duchess, sister of the last Duke of Orleans. She was involved in operation to free her brother. Already in London, where the acquaintance continued pleasantly, the beauty found herself broke and borrowed $10,000 from her wealthy American friends, literally for a week, until her brother walks free. On bail, she gave a luxurious pearl necklace. The next day Buckminster came to the hotel with a face like thunder.
Weil, do you know how it feels to become a victim of scammers?
Joe, who hasn't yet woken up, answered.
No. And how?
Well, you'll find out now,
said Buckminster, and threw the necklace onto his bed.
It's a fake, costs $25.
Naturally, the aristocrats disappeared without a trace. And the whole voyage did not go as planned at all. Europe had no time for American tourists. Epilogue. Soon after his return, Weil again went to prison. And again by an absurd accident. He was seen in the company of people who committed a scam with securities. After that, Joe decided to finally abandon his craft. He has become too well known in the USA to continue his scam career. The hard times of the beginning of the century gave way to the post-war heyday. The laws became tougher. America became a country of legal business. In the 50s, Weil worked as a fundraiser collecting funds for politicians, charitable foundations and churches by phone. The ability to persuade anyone was still his strongest trait. At the same time, he dictated his autobiography to a journalist. The book sold huge copies, and Joe became a kind of American legend. Alas, many of the writers and screenwriters who borrowed his classic scams did not mention the source, so our hero did not receive much money from this. And those $8 million, which, according to the most conservative estimates, he earned during his fraudulent career, went up in smoke. At the end of his biography, Weil told a reporter that he had no regrets about what he had done with his life.
If I had to do it all over again, I would be foolish if I didn't. I don't feel a day over 70. I still like to look at the ladies and take a sip of wine. I like to listen to the radio. But I'll be damned if I'll play bingo with the rest round here. It's a rip-off.
He died when he was 101 years old, in a right mind and cheerful spirit.
Thank you for watching. This story can be an entertaining topic at the dinner table, because everybody enjoys to listen people with a good story. Share, like, subscribe. You know what to do. Leave us a comment what other topics you would discuss at the dinner table.